Hey, Dr. White, do you believe that Christ having one will is a heresy?
Yes.
Do you believe that Christ having two wills is orthodox?
Yes.
Just to add very quickly to what you were saying, Paul, I think, Tony, I think an important distinction that can also be made is that Christ has two wills and one will in different senses. So he has two wills in the sense that as a man, he feels hunger, he feels tiredness, he has a will to rest and so on. So that's his human will, if you will. And he also has a divine will as well, which is separate from that. But in another sense, he has one will in so far as there's not two centers of consciousness which are continuously warring and
exactly.
So in that sense, he has one will, but he also has two wills in a different sense. I think that's a clarifying distinction.
Right.
Let's bring up an
divine will. When we talk about the will of Christ, Christian Orthodoxy maintains that Christ has two wills. He has a divine will and a human will.
I believe that he has one will, not two wills, one will.
When we talk about the will of Christ, Christian Orthodoxy maintains that Christ has two wills. He has a divine will and a human will. What I'm saying is, in the person of Jesus of Nazareth, there was a divine will and a human will. There is no doubt about that.
No, he has one will, not two wills.
Which
one will?
Is he fully human?
He is fully human.
So fully human means he has a human will.
That's right.
And fully divine means he has a divine will. So does the divine will interact with the human will, and do they know that the human will doesn't?
No, he has one will, not two wills.
Which
one will?
The human will know that he's got the divine presence within him.
Yeah, I believe.
And do they talk to each other?
I believe that he has one will, not two wills, one will. One will that is
He's not fully human.
Sorry?
Because if you're fully human, you have all the human qualities.
He has a will that's in perfect accord with the Father. And that is.
So he has a will.
Yes.
So does this human will worship the divine will, or the divine being within him?
The Son worships the Father, but in answer to your question, no.
Does the human Jesus worship the divine Jesus?
No, they're one and the same person, and you're really demonstrating your ignorance of Christian theology on this point, because this is Orthodox. But I need to get going. But I'll...
Jonathan, because he's fully human has a fully human will, because otherwise he's not a human, he's a half human. So as a human being, he has a divine...
No, he has Jesus. One will, not two wills.
Which will?
One will.
The human or the divine?
Both. They come together in one person.
So this is both will. Yeah. So when you have the both will together...
You're setting up a false dichotomy here.
Because if you're fully human, you have to...
It's a man with a will that is given to him by God. It's one will.
No, he agrees with the divine will. That's what you're saying. Congruent.
It's congruent
so the human will
with the will of the Father, is what I said.
So the human will of Jesus is agreeing with the divine will of Jesus, the second member of the Trinity.
Again, this is what happened last time. I give you the responses and you keep asking the same questions, and this is why I get tired of talking to you.
The reason why I know this is, I know you believe Jesus has one nature, but when you say Jesus is fully human and fully God, and then you say he has one will, then he is not fully human or fully God either. Because fully human means he has the human will.
It's two. It's Orthodox Christianity says he has two.
So because...
But Jesus' human will did not, in Gethsemane, where he was deeply grieved, he says to God, let this cup pass from me. Yet, not what I want, but what you want.
Exactly.
So his will, as Jesus, it doesn't make this distinction that you're making, but even if we allow for your distinction, which is not biblical, it doesn't say that, we have a human will which is grieved and doesn't want it, but is subordinating his will to another's will.
So there you have two wills, right? You have the divine
yes.
will.
So I
and
agree
the human
that
will.
that is the theory in the Catholic Church.
But that's not
the wills are not following the same. You have one who is subordinating but doesn't want it.
My basic case in my book, How Jesus Became God, and that I presented last night, is as follows. I don't think that Jesus himself called himself God during his public ministry. I personally don't think Jesus imagined he was God. He wasn't God. He was God's prophet.